Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you today. Sitting here, sucks. Started this morning by how I normally do it, trying to go to the gym before work, and the gym was closed. Not for the holiday, but the gym was closed for moving in and out new equipment. They said they just replaced the floor last month, and they were closed for an entire week. So, I don't know why the hell they didn't replace the equipment at the same time they replaced the floor. But it is what it is. It sucks. But so I drove from there. I got a bite to eat. Now I came to work. I'm an hour and a half early. I'm sitting in the parking lot listening to the Bryan and Vinny show from, I believe, last Thursday, trying to get all caught up. But they're all talking about, the WrestleMania 31 main event. Being a match with Bryan and Brock Lesnar involved, sort of not really talking about Roman Reigns being the third wheel inside of that match, but it got my mind thinking, what if, Bryan really did win this match at Fastlane, and Roman Reigns really was bumped out of the main event even though he won the Royal Rumble. I think that this is honestly a very big gamble for WWE to take. It would sort of take away from the Royal Rumble winner. I know that back in the day, Vince McMahon won the Royal Rumble to sort of add to the feud of Vince McMahon versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. They had their moment in the sun, the big buy rate, or the big, reason to buy the WrestleMania, or I'm sorry, I apologize. The big reason to buy, that Royal Rumble that year was Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon. We're going to start off the Rumble, number 1 and number 2. So for, I believe that one was every 90 seconds a competitor came out. So for a minute and a half, we were going to be able to see Vince McMahon versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Of course, with The Rock coming out there and Vince McMahon, outsmarting Stone Cold Steve Austin, dumping him from the Rumble, Vince was able to get one over on Stone Cold Steve Austin, which led to the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, steel cage match, where basically, I guess Vince McMahon outsmarted Steve Austin again, but Steve Austin was able to get the win with Big Show throwing him through the steel cage and Stone Cold hitting the floor, which then set off on what was supposed to be, well, I guess it was always going to be Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. But it was a great way to debut the Big Show, which never really got the ball rolling in WWF. It took him a long time to become a big thing, and I know they've given him a little bit of a rise every now and then. I don't think it's ever going to get any bigger for the Big Show than it was at WrestleMania 24 when he took on Floyd Mayweather. That was a really big deal for the Big Show. He main evented WrestleMania 2000, WrestleMania 16 with the Fatal 4-Way in LA. It is what it is. I think he was the first guy eliminated, and he deserved to be. Coming out of that match, he ended up becoming, the big joke, where he was doing the wrestling impersonations, much like Charlie Haas, or who else had that gimmick for a while? Damien Sandow, or Mizdow, whatever you want to call him now. But is it a big gamble to take Roman Reigns out of the main event at WrestleMania? I know that, back at SummerSlam, it was a big-time rumor that it was going to be Bryan versus Brock Lesnar. If Bryan was able to come back from injury, that was a match a lot of people were looking to see. I knew that, Bryan's neck was bad, and that turned into a shoulder and elbow issue, where he wasn't able to regain strength after the first surgery, and we never ended up getting this match. SummerSlam ended up being John Cena going up against Brock Lesnar instead. And who would have thought that match would have been such a big classic, with John Cena really only getting about maybe 3 to 4 offensive moves. We've never seen Cena beat like that. So I think they won out in the end of that. And then, of course, that led into Night of Champions and Brock disappearing, only to stay away until the Royal Rumble because WWE was trying to save a buck. But if Roman doesn't get into this match, whether if it's a 3-way or whether if he beats Bryan and it is a 1-on-1, where does Roman go from here? I know that he's a big star. They're already charging premium VIP prices to meet this guy at WrestleMania Access. He is one of the guys that they're trying to push to the top. But I mean, once you rearrange the card, you make the main event a singles match instead of a 3-way. You pair him up against Seth Rollins. Maybe it looks like Seth's probably going to have a match against Randy Orton. I mean, do you put him up against Bray Wyatt, who may or may not be getting the Undertaker? It leaves big, huge holes in this card. I think that's the reason why it has to be a three-way. I've said this all along since this really got put on the table. It's going to be a lot like the Royal Rumble this year, where I believe that Daniel Bryan could win the match and become the champion again at WrestleMania 31. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think this is all about Roman Reigns. They've been pushing this guy for 2 years now. I guess he's been in WWE, and even when he was with the Shield, you could definitely tell that this guy was something special that they thought really could go all the way to the top. I don't know if it's because they know he's got the Rock's blood in him, and he's part of that whole lineage of family. And they think that he could become the next very cool, sort of dark, guy that could, not show himself to the crowd so much. He's always going to have that little bit of a dark side, that little bit of an edge to his character, where he is a good guy. He fights for the right causes, but if you push him to the right edge, or you say something about his mama or something like that, he's just going to flip the switch and be able just to kill about anybody on the roster. We're going to have to see. I don't really even have a big faith in WWE right now. And once they put the belt on Roman, are they going to try and make him look like he's a real big deal, and he's going to have an 8 or a 10 month title reign, and he's just going to be beating everybody down, and making sure that he really does look strong in order to push him into the Royal Rumble next year, where he'd have to try and get the shot to get the title back or something like that. We'll have to see. But Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar would be a hell of a match. I just don't really think it's going to happen come Fastlane. I think Roman's going to be getting that win, and we're going to be getting it. But the Davey versus Goliath match, with the little guy taking down the big guy, especially before he leaves to go back to UFC, is very attractive, and I think Vince McMahon does have that in the back of his mind. Of course, when Brock Lesnar came into WWE, it was John Cena who got the immediate win. I always thought that was sort of like the wrestler beat the UFC competitor. So our guys are stronger than your guys, and I think that he would love to send Brock away that way. I don't think anybody really has Brock winning. It's not like they're going to give him that moment that everybody likes to have, like the Undertaker's retirement, where he wins the championship, shows up on Monday Night Raw, and relinquishes it because he has no true competitors, or he completed his last dream or something like that. Somebody's beating Brock. He's doing the job, and that'll send us into Extreme Rules.